I don't know what it's like to have 10 fingers. I was born this way. And so I just adapted. I have these goals of like doing these bodybuilding shows, right? I went to Africa and I hiked Kilimanjaro, and like basketball wasn't like the easiest sport to play, but I played it. I know how to play the piano. I had cancer and I was just like, I'm going to get this surgery done as fast as I possibly can, just like so I can get back to my life. Anything is possible. Like you can do it. Put your head down, get it done, and you'll figure it out. And like you'll struggle at points, but like ignore the noise around you and just like do it. Anybody can set their mind or heart to something and get it done.
If there was one thing the world was asking for, it was for one more podcast about CrossFit. Well, here we are anyways. This is the Silverback Media Podcast, where we share the stories of the everyday CrossFitter so that more people are encouraged and empowered to try it themselves. Here's your host and everyday CrossFitter, Marco Mejia.
Welcome back to the Silverback Media Podcast, the podcast for you, the everyday CrossFitter. My name is Marco Mejia. I'm your host here on the show. I'm a CrossFit Level 2 trainer in Phoenix, Arizona at CrossFit North Scottsdale. And joining me on the show today is another everyday CrossFitter, also a member at CrossFit North Scottsdale. She is a mom to a 1-year-old baby boy. She is also a working mom as a nurse practitioner. Welcome, my guest, Katie Rambo. Katie, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hi, everyone. I'm good. How are you guys?
Should also mention that you dragged me through a partner workat last week.
Oh,
Goodness gracious.
oh yeah.
That
When
was
you
probably
just
the other
got
piece of
back from being sick too.
oh, first full workout back from the flu. And Katie's like, "You want a partner?" I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, "Oh boy, I'm in trouble."
No,
It
you
was
did
fun. It was
great.
fun. It was good.
It was fun, yeah.
Yeah. So I get a random first question, but like, what, I obviously we kind of talked through a little bit of intro piece. We talked about this, somewhat talked about this, but I'm going to surprise you with this first question. What's like an interesting fact about you that that people wouldn't know from like the intro I just said, or if they found your profile online on like social media or something like that, right? What's a random fun fact about Katie?
Oh man. Like I've done literally every type of workout, and like it just kind of has changed. Like I go through seasons, and I think like the CrossFit season definitely has like lasted the longest. But like an interesting fact is like I used to do like they call it bodybuilding shows. But I used to do like bikini competitions.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
yeah, I did like I think 6 of them total. My last
Wow.
one was right before I went to nurse practitioner school, because I was a nurse and I was just like living life. I was single, like just doing my own thing. And then I was like, I need to like buckle down and like really get everything like my a schedule and like, have a routine. And so I was like, I'm gonna do prep for another show. And so I did 2 shows right before I went back to DNP school. But I did like I think 4 of them in college. And yeah, so it's just like a lot of discipline. And so like I know I can shut the world out, and I've like done that multiple times to do stuff like that. And like I don't know. My husband always says, he's like, that's what I love about you. He's like, you just like set your mind to something and like you can just do it. But it's like a blessing and a curse, because like sometimes I like find things where I'm like, this probably isn't the best way to do it, but I'm going to do it anyways. But yeah, so yeah, so yeah, I've done like a bunch of bikini competitions, and I think that season of my life is over and gone, but it was fun. And like I always like to like work really hard for something, and like I've always like had like little goals like that. And so yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. And to your point, like, I never did a show or a competition, but I trained for that. And I actually like strongly considered doing one a while ago. Kind
Hmm.
of similar, single before,
Yeah.
having a
Yeah.
significant other or kids or anything like that, right? And it was like, oh, sweet, I could just work out all the time and then
Yeah,
work, and that was it. I like strongly considered it. It takes a ton of work to like
oh yeah.
properly prep for one of those. I'm sure we can get to that point. And
Yeah.
I probably have some questions for you about like what that prep looked like. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that stuff is serious. Like
Yeah.
if you want to do well at it and like actually show up well on stage,
Uh-huh.
it's a lot. So,
It's yeah.
um, yeah, especially to do 6. Goodness gracious. So, and we can kind of we'll use that to kind of circle around your story. But like,
Sure.
as you were growing up and stuff, were you like always athletic? Were you always playing sports, into activities?
Yes. So this is kind of funny. Like when I remember being in like grade school, and I don't know, they would have these like little plastic like they were like feet, and you could like put them on your shoelace every time you would like do so many laps around like the field. And like I would just like go outside at recess and just like run the field to get as many as I could of those, which probably says a lot about me now if you know me. And so I like would always like ran, and then I remember being in like fourth grade and like I would like I don't know, like they had a track team and like I was on that. And then actually I got into working out probably when I was like, I mean, besides like gym class and stuff like that, I was probably like must have been a freshman in high school. My mom had a personal trainer, and she still trains with a personal trainer every single day or like 5 days a week. And so
The same
I
one?
was able, actually this one she's had for like, this one she's probably had for at least like 12 years.
Oh,
But the
wow.
other one before that, he like moved away. But anyways,
Oh, okay.
so she worked out with a trainer like every single morning, and then she let me, my sister, and my brother go and train with him like after school. And so I started doing that like a couple days a week, and then I became a personal trainer eventually. Like I don't know, I got my NASM certification, and then like I trained, I did like little kid boot camps there or help
Oh, that's
train.
cool.
Yeah, after school, and then I remember like my junior and senior year, I would have a open period, and I
Mm,
would just like I like made my schedule so I could go work out with my mom. And so like a few times a week, like I think like 3 times a week, I would be able to do that. And so that's really like when I started like freshman year of high school, like I started weightlifting. But
yeah.
then I was like always on like a track team or a cross country team, basketball team, volleyball. And then yeah, like the trainer my mom's with now is like who I did 5 of my shows with.
Mm,
Um, so I trained, yeah, I worked out with him like all through college. And then like he still prepped me like even when I like lived here and
mm.
like 4 or 5 years ago when I did the other two before NP school. But yeah, so started working out like really young, like I don't know, it was like funny
14,
because like I
15,
could
you said, right?
remember, yeah, like I remember even like being like a child, and my mom she would like work out in her bedroom. Like she had like a stair
Mm,
stepper, and like she had 3 kids, so she
mhm.
like couldn't get to the gym, but like she was always, doing that, or she'd like go on a run, like if my dad was home or whatever. And so yeah, I just always like have memories of like my mom working out for sure. And then like I know my dad had like a little gym set up in his garage. And so like it always was like in
Nice.
my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where my mind was going, was thinking about like what, it sounds like you were just active as a kid anyways, right? Back to
Hmm.
the story about like going out at recess and just running to collect
Yeah.
shoes, right? So it sounds like that was there was always a part of that within
Right.
you, but I'm curious how much of an impact that had on you now, especially looking back on it, right? Seeing your parents living this consistently active lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I mean, to kind of layer this part of it in there, right? As a, high school girl learning weightlifting and getting in the gym and stuff like that, right? Like that time of life, and I'm going
Right.
obviously no personal experience, but going based off
Right.
of other conversations, right? Is like that can be a challenging time,
Oh,
especially
for
with things
sure.
around that. So I'm curious, like how much of an impact that had on you, seeing your parents like that, and if that helped kind of, if that had any impact on,
Oh
what
yeah,
could
yeah.
happen during that time of life. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely had like a big impact, and like just like being able to be like around a trainer too, and like learning how to eat properly like really
Mhm.
influenced it too. And like because I remember like my mom would make dinner, and I would like kind of criticize her dinner because I'd be like, well, we need to have like all the food groups or whatever it was, or like make sure we have vegetables, like we need to have vegetables. And so like I think yeah, it definitely influenced then. And like it was kind of nice too, like it definitely like I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, when I was in on the track team, like the only year I went to state was when I was a freshman, and it was like it definitely influences like or the people that are around you influence that. And like I had the best coach when I was a freshman year, um, or yeah, my freshman year, and then like I never went because that coach he talked back and had a mouth on him, and so he got fired. But anyways, like he was really good, like he knew what he was doing, and like a lot of us went to state when he was there. And so like surrounding yourself around these people, you know what I mean, and like having like parents that uh like they didn't say like go work out or like you need to get off the couch or anything, but it was just like they were just living the life. And then like bringing these other people into our lives, like the trainers, you know what I mean? And so, and like my mom would like let me go, and like my first show I prepped with somebody else, and like she would pay for me to go and work out with that trainer and like get me stage ready, you know what I mean? So it's just like
Yeah.
it definitely did. And it was interesting because I remember the coach my sophomore year in high school, I had my track coach was just like he like criticized me. He's like, "You're not strong enough," like blah blah blah. You know what I mean? I was just like, ugh, like you have no idea like what I've done to like, and like what I've been doing, and like, I weightlift outside of just track and stuff like that. So it was that was kind of like a Debbie Downer. And like, yeah, I didn't really like that coach after that. And like track, I like love track, but like I didn't go to state anytime after that because I just think like I kind of like it like messed with my confidence in my head. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, it definitely like set the stage for like my whole life of like I went to college and I worked for Lululemon, and like we were able to go work out at like whatever gym, and like I literally would go just to a CrossFit gym, and then I would switch, I'd go to bar, and then I'd go to spin, and then you know what I mean? And so like I'd always be doing something.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and like still now today I'm like I love CrossFit. I love the gym that we have, and like everybody there, like the community is awesome. So
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned it there too, especially like getting into college. Like, you ran track through college and then, or I'm sorry, through high
high
school, and
school,
then
yeah.
college. You weren't in organized team sports at that point, but
Right.
you kept up a fitness routine working at Lululemon, which is especially college is especially a time where the fitness side can go out the window for a lot of
Right.
people, right? And
Yeah.
I'm sure you probably had friends. I'm sure that like in high school kept up with the fitness stuff. And then as soon as like maybe track was done and then it was time to go to
Yeah.
college,
Yeah.
well, never
It's
setting foot in the gym,
crazy.
can't even spell gym anymore, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so that's impressive. Like for you to essentially lean into that even further, and was that when you did your first show
Yeah,
then?
I think the first show I did while I was a freshman, and then I waited a little bit. I must have been like, yeah, like a junior and senior or something like that in college, and it did like three
Yeah.
more.
Oh wow.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
so
What was the decision? Like, when did you decide you wanted to do the show and like actually properly go through a prep for it?
so it was the first trainer that my mom worked out with. And then like I was able to go work out with him. He's like, you should do a show. And like I was still like really young, like I was probably still in high school at that point, but I was like kind of like, oh well maybe. And so then like once I got into college, I like uh we were like trying to find a trainer in the area that like did prep people or.
Mm.
And so I found one, and then I did it. And so yeah, it
Nice.
was good.
What
And
did
like even my brother did one too. I don't think we did it at the same time, but yeah, I remember he prepped for one at some point.
what was the most surprising thing about going through a prep for a show that you were just like, whoa, I did not expect that, like whatever X thing, fill in the blank, to be a part of this?
Gosh, there's like a couple things like
Go on.
you don't realize like you I don't think I realized it until honestly like the last show when I was here in Arizona and I prepped like by myself because like when I was in Idaho, um like that's where I'm from, my mom would help me cook, and like I would just like go home, and like she would like I'd be like, can you she text me like like, oh, what do you need, like what can I meal prep for you? But like when I was here it was like way different because I was doing all of it, and I wasn't like around, like I could just go and hang out at my parents' house, right? Or like go and hang out with my brother, and like still be doing prep. But it was like it's completely different when you guys are single, you live alone, and you're prepping for a show because you are making all the food by yourself, you're grocery shopping by yourself, you're going to bed like I don't know, 7, 8 p.m. to get up at 4 to do fasted cardio, to come home to eat, to go back to the gym to lift, to come home to eat, and then like go on with your day. You know what I mean? And so it just like
So much eating.
very, yeah, yeah, it was just all around that. And it was like very, like when I look back at that time, like not the times like when I was in Idaho with my family, but like when I was just single living here, is so isolating. So
Yeah.
isolating because like my
Mm,
girlfriends would be like, oh, let's go out to lunch or like, let's go, get drinks. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be around that. And like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's not that I'm like, not, I'm antisocial, but it was just like, I don't know. Like when I do things, I do like things like 110% too. And like I do it perfectly and like no one's going to get in my way type of mentality. And so I just like, I do things exactly how it's written and I don't waver on it. And, my friends would be like, oh, you can have a sip of this or have a bite of this. And I'm just like, that's not what winners do. You know what I mean? And so I would just like, I would not go. And so it was like
Yeah.
frustrating to me because I'm just like, why are you asking me? Like, you already know what I'm going to do. But then like, I get,
Mm.
like they want me to be out and like, I'm their friend and we're friends and stuff like that. And so, but yeah, that was like the biggest thing is just like, it was very, very isolating as a single woman. And you live alone and you have no family around.
You're like, oh crap, I got to cook all this food myself now. Damn.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, but I mean, I don't know. I just like literally, I was a nurse at the time and I worked 312s and I just like would make sure like one of my shifts I didn't have to work out like like you'd have a rest day or whatever. And so
Mm.
I just like was very strategic about that and just like stayed on point. So
How much of that, like, is that takes, like you said, a lot of discipline, a lot of structure, a lot of
mhm.
preparation, and just logistics and thinking through it, right? How much of that serves you, like today? I mean, I'm trying to get a sense of like if that level of determination. It sounds like there was a part of that you just had, and then there was a
Mhm.
part of that like going through that prep, almost like I don't know, revealed more of it to you of like, oh yeah, okay, no, this is just what needs to be done, right?
Yeah.
So how much of that like still serves you to this day? Like if you have a goal or if you're working through something or whatever the case is, or even in a
Yeah.
CrossFit workout, I'm sure hell it probably helps a ton.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And like what I said before, it's like when I set my mind to something, like I do it and I try and do it perfectly, right? And like sometimes it's like doesn't serve me because like the way like it'll take me too long to do it or like I want it done quicker and it like needs more time or whatever.
Mm.
But I like it's a lot. It shows up like every day in my life, like with my son, like, you know what I mean? I'm very structured with his day. And like I was telling you that before, like his nap time, I'm like, I try and keep a very strict schedule. And like, I'm like, I know people are like, oh, we just go with the flow. But I'm just like, I like to sleep at night. And my son doesn't like to sleep at night when he has too much sleep during the day. And so, you know what I mean? I'm like very, uh, yeah, structured with that. And like, yeah, and like schedules are very like I guess important to me. And so even like my husband knows, he knows like I like to be on time to things. I don't like to be late to things. Like I like to keep a schedule and like I don't like when things are like kind of thrown off.
Mm.
So yeah, but it's like a blessing and a curse, like I said. Like it at times it's great and then at times like I probably should be a little bit more lenient and lax, but it's like hard because it's just like me.
Yeah.
you know?
Well,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
it's a part
yeah,
of you, and I'm sure like finding the balance between those two over time,
yeah,
you've probably learned some of that. But I got to imagine it's also probably nice to know that if there's a time where you need to tap into that determination, it's there, right? And you're
yeah.
like,
And
oh,
like,
we need to lock in. All right, let's do it, right?
right. And
Because
like
you've
my
done it
husband,
before.
yeah, my husband always says that to me. He's like, if you need something, like Kate, you need Katie to get something done, like tell her and she'll do it and like it'll get done. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and sometimes he's like, oh, it could wait, or like, uh, oh, sorry, I don't know what happened just now. Oh no, someone's calling me.
Uh-oh.
Um, but anyways, I declined it. Anyways, I don't know how to get this view. Okay, there we go. I think that will help. Like, anyways, what was I saying? Like, oh yeah, my husband, like, yeah, he will say like, if you need Katie to get something done or like organize something, like she is the person to do it. Um,
Mhm.
and at other times, like, I'm like, I don't really want to do that, or I don't want to be that person because like sometimes it will be too like structured,
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
It's like over the top. Yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense. No, yeah. And okay, so in that kind of phase, we were talking about the prep. You're talking about okay, you're in college, you're working at Lululemon, so you're kind of bouncing around to different classes. And you mentioned that there's a CrossFit gym that you
Mhm,
would go to. Was that your first exposure to CrossFit? Had you heard about it before
mhm.
that? Had you tried it before that?
Yeah, oh wait, no, no, yeah, I had tried it. I think like just when I started working at Lululemon, because there was another girl that like she like regularly did CrossFit, and so I would like go it and like drop in with her and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and then, but yeah, that was like when I first started doing CrossFit was like, yeah, I don't know exactly what I might have been in. Yeah, it must have been like a junior or senior in college because that's like when the Lululemon
Okay.
opened. Yeah, and
Okay.
so that's when I started like I wouldn't do it like every single day, but like I would, go a couple times a week or, but then I would
Nice.
told you like I'd go to like Pure Bar because we could just go to like whatever gym. And like that's like part of Lululemon's like uh thing is like community. So you need to like go and like
Yeah.
don't just like stay at one. You need to go to other gyms and stuff like that. So
Kind of experience all
mhm,
the different flavors of it, right?
correct.
Had you heard anything about CrossFit before that, or was it just like his coworker's going to do it? Let me go try this out.
I don't I think probably just like, oh, my coworkers, yeah, like my coworkers are going, and so I don't think like I can't like remember like a
Yeah.
time where I was like, oh, like thinking about like now what I know, like oh, the Open or the CrossFit Games
Mm.
and stuff like that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
probably just being around people that would go.
Which is probably nice because I'm sure like a lot of the people that I've talked to, if they had heard stuff about CrossFit before trying it themselves, it usually wasn't the most positive thing. It was usually like
Totally.
like, oh, they move with bad form and stuff is crazy. And obviously, like we know, right? Like that's not
Right.
always the truth. It's just like what shows up on social media, right? So
Hmm.
what was that experience like the first time like that first class you went to? Do you remember what the first workout was?
I don't know, but I remember doing a lot of double unders. Not exactly like maybe the first workout, but like I remember like I bought a jump rope and then like I was like learning how to do double unders. And I think I was a little intimidated because it wasn't like the exact type of like working out that I was used to because I was like very like when I weightlifted, I'd like have certain sets and reps and all these
Mm.
things and like go up in weight and all that. Um, so I do remember like being intimidated by like, oh, I gotta like get this barbell up over my head and like do a thruster or like I remember being like on the rig too. Like I was just like, oh, this is intimidating because like I don't know how to do a toes to bar or like kipping pull up or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I think like and I didn't really like it, I did CrossFit like, not consistently like when I was in college. But then when I moved out here, like I did like a ton of yoga and then I started
Mm.
going to like a CrossFit gym and then like that's when I really like started getting into it.
Sure.
And yeah, then I did my show and then like I went back. I was like, oh, I need, I'm like, I don't know. I guess like you like the community and like to be around people and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
like even like after my show, like you have something to work towards, right? And then like the first workout after your show and like you've done it, you're just like, I don't know what I'm
Like, what am I
doing
doing
here.
now? What am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I
Yeah.
don't have anything. I'm not working towards anything. And like I always had like, my trainer always like gave me a list of or like a workout. And then I was just like, well, I don't even know what to do. So then I was like, I got to get back into group fitness and like CrossFit. And so then like I started going again.
And that was that the community component that really like brought that home for you of
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay, I missed
yeah.
that piece. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's such a yeah, especially once you feel it too. And then you kind of like you said, I mean, well, hell, you kind of mentioned it earlier, right? That a prep for a bodybuilding show or bikini show is kind of an isolating experience. So
For
especially
sure.
after you felt that exposure to like the group fitness aspect, which it sounds like you had a bunch of that anyways,
Hmm.
CrossFit being a piece of it, then going into a prep like that, knowing that kind of isolating feeling when you come out of it, you're like, I want to work out
Yeah,
with other people.
yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. I'm like, yeah, and like
Yeah.
now I can't even imagine like just like going to a gym and like regularly and just like lifting work by myself. Like that sounds terrible.
And like headphones on and having to come
Yeah.
up with a workout on my own. I'm like, I used to love
Uh,
doing that. That used to be the most fun part. And then I got married and had kids. I'm like, I don't want to think that much. I'd
yeah.
rather
Yeah,
just
and like it's I feel so bad because like I go to class and I know I'd probably do this in your class, but like I talk so much. I talk so
Oh,
much. Like even this morning, I was talking and I'm just like, oh my gosh, every time I go to class, I'm like the person talking. I have no idea what's going on. And people that sometimes coaches are telling me like they just kind of ignore you, but they're in their head. I'm sure they're like, oh my God, she's annoying. But
yeah,
I feel so bad. But I'm like, it's like an hour of socialization for me. Like
yeah.
I spend time with a 10-month-old like 95% of my time. And so like that 1 hour that I get, I'm like, I just can't stop talking.
I have that same thing happen to me too, where I like catch myself halfway through class. I'm like, like in general, I probably shouldn't talk as much as I do when I'm taking a class. But like also as a coach, I feel like I need to be better about that. But like it's kind of the dirty dark secret that like the worst. I don't want to say the worst because that's extreme, but like the people that are going to talk the most while they're in class are probably the coaches because they're like, oh, yeah, like you can talk to the people that like you normally coach and now you're
Yeah,
working out with
yeah.
them and you can catch up on something you asked them before, like the other day when you were working, And
Right.
so it's, yeah, I 100% get that. And like, Lindsay, my wife, Lindsay, she'll ask, she used to ask me more like, hey, if you ever want to like line up, time to go out with friends or whatever, I'm like, I go to class. Like that's when I talk to my friends. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's good enough for me. That's enough social. That
Oh,
that
that's so
kind of
nice of
fills
her.
that cup or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. But then the coach who's coaching that class is probably like, will you shut up back there?
I know. I know. I feel so bad because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I literally am like the only one talking. Like, and I'm like, I feel so bad, but I'm like, I don't know. I just like, this is my only hour to socialize. And like, sometimes I'm like, oh, if I don't work out, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like who am I gonna talk to? Like, like then I got like text
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. And you're like, somebody who's around.
Yeah.
So question for you about like when you kind of first started CrossFit. So it was, when
Hmm.
you Lulu days, right? You're like kind of getting in there, getting exposed to it. Did you ever, because I feel like there's a lot of, and I mean, you having a training background, I mean, going back to when you were in high school, right? You're
Hmm.
very familiar with weights and weight training and all
Hmm.
that stuff, but there's still a lot of different movements that
Oh,
we
for
do in
sure.
CrossFit that are you just don't see in a everyday gym, right? Between the gymnastics or the Olympic weightlifting stuff, were there any of those that you first saw someone do it and you were like, "Holy crap, what the hell did they just do? How'd they do that?"
Like I can't like I feel like it was probably mostly like gymnastics. I was just like I've never like I didn't do gymnastics as like a child, and so like just like getting up on the rig, I was just like this is like I don't think I'll ever be able to do that. Like that's not something, you know what I mean? But like I don't can't remember like doing like keep seeing people like do snatches or cleans or anything like that. Like complex like those movements. But like yeah, getting on the rig I think was like the biggest where I was just like, oh, I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
ever gonna be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, and we were kind of talking about this a little bit the other day, like we were joking about
Hmm.
earlier when you dragged me through that freaking partner workout. And that one had toes to bar. And I
Yeah,
think you did like whatever the number was, you did them all unbroken. I'm pretty sure that whole class.
yeah.
Excuse me. And I wasn't sure like when in here to ask you about this, but I know,
Hmm.
a part of it of what we were talking about was like how you approach bigger sets because of your hand, right?
Hmm.
And so I
Yeah.
was curious, like how, as you were starting CrossFit, and I mean, maybe even like before that, when you were weight training
Hmm.
before, like how much of a factor did that play in how you had to approach training or how you had to figure out like with how you have to essentially
Yeah,
grip the
because
bar or
yeah.
grip the pull-up bar? At Silverback Media, we believe the world is a better place with more people involved in CrossFit. And big part of that is making sure that these stories and this podcast continues to spread so others can hear it and know that they're capable of doing it too. A big thing that you can do to help with that is to make sure to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening on, whether that's Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. Go to Instagram, follow our account at Silverback Media. That's the way that we can make sure that this thing continues to spread and we get more people involved doing CrossFit. I'd really appreciate it if you did that. And now let's get back to the episode.
So, well, it's funny because like when I was like a little kid, I would do the monkey bars too, and like I just like I didn't have like a like now I have like the hook and strap thing, but I didn't have that, so I just like use my wrist and like make do, right? But then when I started weightlifting, like luckily I had like very good trainers. He was like, I'm gonna help you find something, and like at first it was just like a fixed hook.
Okay.
And so like, and that's like when I was just like regular weightlifting. So it was like easy to do deadlifts or, dumbbell stuff. I wasn't like doing cleans or like snatches. I don't think I was like doing like anything really on the, like if I was doing like a pull up, anything on the rig, I was just doing like a strict pull up or strict chin up. But yeah, I can't like remember like what I felt or like thinking back, but like I think I was just like already exposed like with that type of like hook. I like had to figure out another one that like is more like not fixed, like the one I use now. And
Hmm.
um like I think because I had the exposure to it already, like I was just like, oh, like I can do this. Like I just have to figure it out, right? Like I just need to
Hmm.
like practice it a few times and then like I'll eventually get comfortable. Um, and like there's still things that I'm like not super confident with, and like I am afraid to go heavier because I'm just like I have dropped the barbell like doing a clean and jerk that was pretty heavy over my
Hmm.
head and like my arm went back and like that it doesn't feel good, but
Hmm.
like it's happened, you know what I mean? And so I like think sometimes like especially with like a snatch, like I get freaked out like that and like even like a muscle up, like my goal is to try and get a muscle up this month and so I'm running out of time. But um I think it's just kind of like a little fear factor, right? But it's like once I actually do it and like have the confidence and like show myself and prove to myself that I can do it, like I think then like, like I could progress. But
Okay. Yeah.
um yeah, I think like uh because like I had the foundation of like when I was weightlifting, it like carried over and like didn't make it as hard when I started
Hmm.
doing CrossFit, doing like more complex movements and stuff like that. I
Makes
just had
sense.
to figure out a different strap that works. And like I honestly think I've been using this strap, not the exact same one, but like the brand for
Hmm.
probably 15 years. So,
Oh,
or over
wow.
than that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's one that you're like, yeah, you kind of figure out how to use it, how to,
Hmm.
transition in and out of it, right? Pretty quickly
Correct.
to, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's worked great. And like I always like worried. I'm like, always online, like trying to like, oh, do I need to order another one? Like I'm afraid they're like kind of like stop making them or something. But yeah, so I don't know. You kind of like, like people have always said like, oh, I feel bad for you, like, oh, your hand's that way or whatever. But I'm like, I didn't have like an accident or I don't know what it's like to have 10 fingers or you know what I mean? And so it's like I was born this way. And so I just like I just adapted and like figured it out. And like I did that like as a child, like on the monkey bars and on the playground. And then like when I started working out, like, I had a trainer that was very supportive and like helped me. And then like just kind of like carried over into like how what I am now. And like you see me work out and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think I do bigger sets. I try to, but like again, like I said, like if I were to have to do like 60 toes to bar or something like that, I'm gonna break. But like it's funny, even like today we were doing like heavy deadlifts.
Hmm.
And Neil was like, oh man, like I didn't realize like you can't just like drop the bar like after your the 10th one, I think. You know what I mean? Like he's like you kind of
Hmm.
it's like you have to like get a little bit of do a little bit of extra work to like drop the bar. And it is true, but it's like, I don't know, that's just it. That's how it is, you know what I mean? Like to
Yeah. I
get
mean,
the bar back on the floor.
well, and we had that with the workout on Monday with the double unders, the running, and the clean and jerks, right? And that was like that for whatever reason that one
Oh
stuck out
yeah.
to me more, as we were going through it, because like
Right.
when it comes to jump rope, you don't have you don't wear the hook, right? Because it
Hmm.
probably get in the way of the rope. Then obviously you're going out for a run, and then you got to come back in for clean and jerks where you got to put. So like then now you've got the transition time, but like I'm not saying, I'm sure probably in your mind, you're like, well, yeah, that's what I have to do. And I figure it out and I
Yeah.
make it happen. Right. But you're like, I just got to run faster, I guess. Right. So, and you mentioned that you were born that way. Right. So like, as you
Yeah.
were growing up, I mean, do you feel like that mindset of adaptability, like, do you just remember always having that? Do you remember like, whether it was maybe just some, I don't know how to put it, like lessons from your parents as they were kind of like, did they help instill that in you like as you were growing up, of like kind of making that adaptability a part of who you are?
Yeah, I think like my dad would just like I don't think he like explicitly said like, oh, you're just gonna have to like, adapt or whatever. But I just think like I can't exactly like remember, but like I know like there were like times where it was just kind of like, this is what you got to do. This is what you're dealing with, and like, like we'll figure it out. You'll figure it out or whatever. And like
Mhm.
they never like they always supported everything I did, right? Like basketball wasn't like the easiest sport to play, but I played it. I know how to play the piano. I took piano lessons and I played the piano. But like, you know what I mean? But it's just like, it's just like probably even like a CrossFit coach. Like people come in and they have like, knee problems or shoulder problems. And you're just kind of like, uh, what is it when it's like you not adapt, but like you give
Scale
them,
or
what do you
modifications.
say? Yes,
Modifications.
modifications. You know what I mean? Or like you figure out how to like get it to work, but just in like a different way, right? And so like that's just even like my piano teacher. I remember like we would have to just kind of move the notes a little bit, you know what I mean? And stuff like
Oh,
that.
wow.
But yeah, yeah, I can't remember like a time where I was just like, oh, I can't do it because my hand's this way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. There was always a I'll figure it out kind of
Yeah.
approach in
And
there.
like yeah, and like I will get it done.
Yeah. 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 And that, I mean, back to, that kind of like feeds into all
Hmm.
the other pieces of your story that we've talked through, right? Is like the
Hmm.
determination as you went through a bodybuilding prep or like we said in a CrossFit workout or something like that,
Hmm.
right? Like that all kind of builds on each other. And so no, that's yeah. And I don't know. I remember that was probably the first time we talked about it was after
Hmm.
that workout the other day where I was just like,
Hmm.
I noticed you were doing bigger sets on toes to bar, and I was like, huh. For whatever reason, it hit me. I'm like, I wonder if like I mean, you had the capacity for it, obviously, but I wondered if a part of it was like kind of need to because getting
Yeah.
in and out of that or getting the hook
Yeah.
on and off the pull-up
Uh-huh.
bar is just an extra factor that you have to consider and you're like okay cool
Yeah.
well that's just what I got to do so I guess I got to be able to do what was it 12 toes to bar at a time
Yeah.
and just that is what it is.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so then and we've talked about it a little bit here so far too but you got a 10-month-old baby boy and I know that
Hmm.
you trained basically through your just about your whole pregnancy.
Yeah. Who was I talking to the
Just
other day?
about.
And I was telling him, I was talking to Ashley and I was like,
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, it's because I just like went into labor naturally. And anyways, I was like, yeah, 2 days before I gave birth, I was doing squat cleans. And then like that was on a Monday. And then Tuesday, we went on a hike, me and my husband and the dogs. And I remember just like huffing and puffing and thinking, like, oh my gosh, like, I am like, this is so bad. And then I went into labor like the next morning, super early. But yeah, like, I was doing squat cleans 2 days before. And like, yeah, I never stopped working out. Like, my husband and I are like both very active and we would hike. And like, I still did CrossFit. And yeah, so I don't, yeah.
Was
Just
there
always
ever
doing
any
it.
was there ever any thought to like take time off or stop like while you were pregnant or were you just like no this is just what we do this is just what I do and we're just gonna roll with it?
No, no,
No.
no, never. Even, but like when I was postpartum, I did take 6 weeks off. Like I didn't come to the gym at all
Well
for
yeah
6 weeks.
yeah. Mhm.
And like I know people that are like, oh, like I'm gonna go back, like right away or whatever, like give myself 2 weeks. But I was like, I've never been pregnant before, and I don't know what like my body's gonna do, and like I don't feel great.
Mhm.
So yeah, I took the 6 weeks off and I just like walked. I don't think like because I have a pull-up bar and like a box here and like weights, but I don't think I really did anything. So
Uh,
I just like walked. Yeah.
6 weeks that's like the that's like
The
isn't that's like the typical recommendation of like hey
Yes, exactly.
nothing
Yeah.
crazy for 6 weeks until you get like medically cleared to
Yeah.
to do
Well,
stuff
and
again
but
right.
then like yeah, but then like on top of that, like I knew because I had to have my thyroid out like 4 weeks after I had the baby. And so like I knew like going into that, I was just like I need to like conserve all my energy to have
Yeah.
surgery and then like recover from that. So like literally at the 6 week mark of giving birth, I was like 2 weeks post op. And so I got the blessing from both of my doctors that like at the 6 week mark. And so I was like, okay, as soon as I get both of their blessings, I'll go back to the gym.
Oh wow. Okay. I couldn't remember the timing on when that happened with it. I couldn't that was in that 6 week window. That was 4 weeks after when you had the surgery
Yeah.
to get that out.
Yeah.
Okay. When was the initial diagnosis on that? Because that would have been what when you were pregnant, I guess, right?
Yeah. So like honestly, like it was like a year ago to like just around this time that we were in
Oh
Florida
wow.
and I was like
Okay.
just like hanging out on the beach and I was like rubbing my neck and I like was like, wow, there's like something really wrong with the right side of my neck. I had like this huge lump. And so we get back to Arizona and I like got a appointment with my PCP like right away. And she's like walks in and she's like looking at her laptop and she's like, "Oh, it's very typical to have like a enlarged thyroid when you're pregnant. Like we could, check your labs and stuff. Uh, but they'll probably be normal." And then she like looks up at me and then she's like, "Oh wow, like it's only on the right side that I can see." Like she's like 10 feet away from me and sees that like only the right side of my neck is like has this huge lump, right? And so she was like, we're gonna do labs, I'm gonna order you a biopsy. And so like again, this is where my mentality of like get everything done as like fast as I possibly can. I was just like, okay, we're like going, like we're gonna get the first appointment to get a biopsy. And so yeah, it must have been just like a couple weeks like after, or maybe even a week after, like so like this time last year, I like got the diagnosis that I had papillary thyroid cancer. And yeah, so then like I saw the ENT and it was like the cutoff to get like have a total thyroidectomy was like 4 centimeters of the tumor, and mine was at like 3.5. And so they were like, "Oh, well, you could probably wait like 6 months to get this out." Cause like I was gonna be postpartum and all this stuff, right? They didn't want that. They told me I had to wait till I had the baby. And so I was like, okay, but the way I work is just like, no, we're gonna get this out like as soon as I have this baby, like I'm gonna get this thing out. Like who
Right.
wants cancer growing in them, right? Longer than they need to. And so that was like how I thought about it. And so I went to another ENT, and by the time like that was probably like 3 4 weeks later from like my first biopsy of like 3.5 centimeters. And by that time the tumor was like 4.7 centimeters, so it had
Whoa.
grown very quickly. And they had told me like, "Oh, it's gonna grow slow, so you're not gonna have to get it out for 6 months." But like I think because I was pregnant and like my hormones were like, all crazy, uh that it just grew so fast. And so like
Oh
after that, they were
gosh.
like, you have to have a total thyroidectomy. Like you don't get the option. And so at that point, I was just like the ENT was like trying to tell me, he's like, you don't have to get this out like as soon as you want to. He's like, you can wait, like, because you're going to be postpartum and like, you need to spend time with the baby and all these things. And I was just like, no, like I am going to get this thing out is the like the first possible date that you will give me, like I'm going to get it out. And so it was exactly 4 weeks after I delivered Maverick that I had it taken out. And because I knew I was going to have to do the radiation too. And so I didn't want to have to like postpone all of that. And like, yeah, I just don't like it when I have to do something, I just like want to get it done, I guess.
You're like, let's get
So,
it out.
yeah,
Right in line with everything else we've talked about, right?
correct.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. So that surgery was 4 weeks
So
after
I
he was
had
born.
Maverick. Yeah, I had Maverick end of April, and then end of May, I had the surgery. And then like, and it kind of like also played in the part of it was just like, uh, Brad was going to be off work.
Mm.
And like it was the summer, and so we had travel plans too, you know what I mean? Um, And so, or like we had like tentatively things that we wanted to go do over the summer. And so like that's kind of probably why it played out that way too. But then I didn't get the radiation. I was supposed to get it in August, but there was like a mishap with the doctor of like when I was supposed to stop breastfeeding and like take the radiation. And so I ended up taking it in September. And that was also like one of the hardest things that I've probably done of just like have to be isolated from my family for 7 days. And, you know, like I have a brand new baby at home that I can't be near. So that was like really hard. And so, yeah, I don't wish that upon anybody. And I hope I never have to do that again.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, what I mean, you know, what helped you through that? I mean, you know, it's what you said it was 7 days that you were isolated, which like
Yeah,
at face value can seem like not a long time, right?
right.
But also when you're in the middle of it, I'm sure feels like the worst stretch of time you could ever imagine.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because like I like describe this to people because like you don't know how fast time is going until like you have a family. And I'm sure like you have
Mm.
seen like your children like you know be newborns and then they grow so fast and like you
Yeah.
really don't have a sense of time until you have ch children because like
Mm.
Maverick is ginormous now. And like I can remember just like it was felt like yesterday, he was just like a brand new newborn, right? And so it's like very hard for me to like rationalize time now because I
Mm.
just feel like those 7 days were like taken away from me to be with
Mm.
not just Maverick, but like be in my own home with my husband and my dogs and like get to go to the gym and like do things that I like a normal person gets to do. And so now I just feel like, and I think I felt like this, like even like going to surgery, like I know I had to like just stay in the hospital one night, but it was just like the fact that I knew I was like leading up to the 7 days of isolation. It kind of felt like a death sentence is like how I could describe it. Cause I was just like waiting for like doomsday. And like, cause I
Mm.
knew I was just going to be like, we rented my neighbor's house like two doors down. God bless her.
Oh, that's
And so
awesome.
it was like, yeah, it was very nice because Brad and the baby could like come and like walk and like I could walk like 12 feet behind them and like we would go on walks, you know what I mean? And so like I could
Yeah.
see them and stuff, but just like not being able to like interact with Maverick for those 7 days was just like terrible. And so like I just yeah, I feel like time is against me in that way. And so it's like very hard for me to like even like go in and like enjoy time like with my girlfriends because I'm
Mm.
just like I just need to be with Maverick all of the time.
Yeah.
And so it's like I know it's not healthy because I'm like I really do like just like want to spend all of my time with Maverick. And like
Mm.
even like when I go to work, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to get home, you know what I mean? And so yeah, I don't know. I need to figure that part out, but it like definitely plays like is part of like the whole uh like cancer diagnosis and then having to be away and like you know what I mean? Because it's just like
Yeah.
Brad goes away for like work trips and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm sure you've been away from your family, but it's just like things that you have to do. But like it's like things that like yeah, it's like I don't want to do that. I don't want to be away at all. Um and yeah, so yeah, it's just weird. Like that's like a really weird part that I've like tried to like I'm navigating now, like postpartum and like Maverick's almost a year old now. And like I still have that feeling inside of me where it's just like I like time is against me. You know, I don't know. It's weird.
I I I I definitely feel that like it just recently and I am not in any way comparing what I'm about to say to what you went through,
Hmm.
right? So I'm just trying to
Yeah.
like, you know, I had a work trip and I was gone for like 3 days, but I had that
Yeah.
same feeling where I was just like, you know, I'd much rather be home with my family. Um,
Hmm.
at the same time, and like where I hear it in your voice too is that like you didn't you didn't really have a choice,
Right.
right? Like
Yeah.
work trips and stuff to an extent, it's like you'd be like, hey, I got some stuff going on. I'm not going to be able to make it on this trip, kind of
Right.
thing, right? You didn't necessarily get that option. And I don't
Right.
know if this makes it, I don't know if this, I mean, I don't know. You tell me if this helped or made it feel worse. But like the fact that you were only two houses down and you kind of like could see them. I don't know, but like maybe I don't know. This is weird. But for me, like if I need to be isolated, I'd almost want to be like
Right.
fully, right? Not
Totally.
like this. partial isolate where it's like I'm isolated, but we can also be 12 feet from each other. But I
Yeah,
also can't like then be like, hey, just let me hold the baby for like 2 minutes.
right.
You know,
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know. I don't know.
totally. Well, and like initially, like before, like the first time I was gonna like get the radiation and like like the doctor, like things were got messed up and like I couldn't take it. Like I was at an Airbnb like a couple blocks away, and so then like I don't know. Like I think like being further away probably would have been harder because like I literally had told Brad like because it was September like that was gonna be in August when I was gonna do it. I was like I literally just like gonna come and like sit on the step because like I'm just gonna be like so like lonely and like
Yeah.
depressed. Um so I do think like for me because I'm like I was just like I don't want to be away from this child.
Yeah, as a new
Like
mom,
it
that's
yeah.
really hard.
Yeah, and like
Unbelievably hard, anyways. But I can imagine that time. I mean, Maverick's only a few months old. Like that makes it
yeah.
that much more difficult.
Right. And like at the time he was like 3 months old, like the first time I was supposed to do it. And I was like, all right, like he's not moving around. Like he literally like you put him down like on his play mat, like and he can't like roll or anything. And then like at 4 months, I was like, oh my gosh, like he might be like starting to roll, like he might roll when I'm gone. You know what I mean? I was like freaking out,
Yeah.
like something's gonna like major is gonna happen or change with him and like I'm gonna miss it. But it was really good because like Brad, my mom came and Brad and like my mom like would literally just like keep me on FaceTime all day. And
Yeah.
so, and like I was like, I did like, during that time, I was like able to go on like walks and like obviously I like made sure I was like away from everybody. Um, but yeah, like it was just weird. It was a weird time. And like, yeah, I can see why people get very depressed, like being alone. But like some people like it. And I'm not one of those people.
Well, and kind of 2 points like off of that experience, right? One, it sounds like coming out of that, it almost just gave you like you kind of said it as like time is working against you, but on the weird flip side of that is that you probably just appreciate every moment that much more, right?
Yeah,
Where you're just like, let me sink
totally.
into this as much as, and the second kind of observation on that too is, and we kind of talked about like how CrossFit becomes social hour. Like I'm sure that's probably a part of it too. It's like, oh, I can get my fitness and my social aspect out like at the same time, so that I can get
Hmm.
back to like spending time with my baby after feeling like kind of lost that time
Correct.
before. That's probably a part
Correct.
of where that comes out, right? Where you're like, all right, let me
Yeah.
get this little bit of social aspect, let me get
Yeah.
that out with grown-ups, and
Yeah.
then I'm going back.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And then I'm like back in mom mode and like that's,
Yeah.
like 95% of my day. And so, yeah, it's definitely weird. Like the Katie that I was like before mom and like before cancer and stuff is like definitely like I know I like parts of me is still there, but like it's like, yeah, I'm like, I don't like the most important thing in my life is like Maverick and like being with him and like spending all my time with him. So, yeah.
Yeah. So how did maybe through that time, um, how did having been involved in CrossFit for obviously a good amount of time leading up to that, right? Whether it was pregnancy, postpartum, then you have the recovery from the surgery, the radiation, all that stuff.
Hmm.
There's probably a physical component, but I'm sure there's like a mental, social component too. How did being involved in CrossFit for a stretch of time leading up to all those things happening in a short window of time? I mean, really, hell, that all happened within a year. How
Yeah.
did being involved in CrossFit help you through that?
Um, it like
Like
gave
a
me
weird question,
something
I
to
know, but
like but like this is like kind of like how I like kind of just like my life is. It's just like I kind of like will always like I like goals and like I like to be working towards something, you know what I mean? And like I like to challenge myself. And so it's just like every time I'd go to the gym, it's just like, like I want to get this workout done. Like, like and then like I want to, like I have goals of like I want to RX when can I RX get back to an RX workout? You know what I mean?
mm,
Um
mm,
and so I think just like it- having like something to work towards every day and like see like
mm,
it wasn't like a drastic change, but it was like, I eventually got myself back to being like to do the RX, or like I wasn't, whatever, modifying like what I was before, like when I was pregnant, or like like yeah, you just aren't as strong as you when you were like pre-baby, or I wasn't as strong pre as I was pre-baby, to
Mhm.
do all of those like movements and weights and stuff like that. And so just like being able to like have some place to go, whatever, 5, 6 days a week to like work on, um, like, yeah, I guess like my physical fitness, or like have something to work towards, in like in a good healthy environment that like everyone's super supportive, and like no one's judging me if I'm not doing the RX or whatever.
Mhm.
um like I think like that like really like just like carries you through, you know what I mean? Because like if I were at a gym that were just like, especially if I was just like going to weightlift like by myself, like it definitely probably would have been way slower, and like probably wouldn't have gone to the gym every single day, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Because then you're like, there's, and I don't know how much of this has happened for you, but right, if you're in a CrossFit gym, you like can miss a few days or something like that. Like you're getting a message from someone. It's like, hey,
Right.
how's everything going? You all right? Like,
Hmm.
haven't seen you in a while, right?
Right. Like you,
And
like
that's
their
just not.
accountability, yeah, like yeah, accountability buddies.
Yeah, exactly, right. I think what was that old Ben Stiller? Heavyweights, the buddy system.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever watch Heavyweights? Yeah, where it's
Yeah.
buddy. Yeah. But that's like kind of the deal a little bit there, right? So, how much of
Hmm.
that? How like this kind of a tie into a question from earlier. How much do you think about now, right? Having Maverick, and I mean he's 10 months old, right? But I know
Hmm.
you've brought him up to the gym a couple times, and he's
Hmm.
it'll be some time before it kind of sets in with him. How much of the influence of seeing your parents training consistently when you were younger, how much do you think about that in terms of the impact that it could have on him as he grows up? Like, is that something that you kind of actively think about, or you're just like, hey, I'm gonna work out because I'm gonna do it anyways, right? Like,
I
how does
do
that
no,
factor in?
I have had like thoughts of that. And like even when I like see like other like your kids at the gym, or like other little kids at the gym and their parents are working out, like I like think like that's such a good thing,
Mhm.
because it's not like you're just like they're not like sitting on the couch, while you're at the gym. You know what I mean? Like, the kids are running around and like they're trying to, like you're trying to keep them occupied while you're working out. But it's just like it's very good, because it's like my mom didn't go to a gym, but like she like made sure that she was doing weights and like on the stair stepper like every day when we were little. And then she got a trainer at one point. But like I do really think like you will grow up and like mold into the environment that you are in, you know what I mean? And so like I do hope Maverick is like, I tell Brad that all the time. I'm like, I can't wait till he can play sports, and like we have to go to soccer games and like basketball games, and like and like I can't wait till he gets to like try to like uh try and lift, like the little weights at the gym, or like even like the PVC pipes, and like can run around and like start like putting things together. And so yeah, I do think it really does influence them. And I do think like, well, I hope for Maverick that he enjoys it as much as like I do.
Mhm.
So
And like you said, it's exposure to it, right? If he feels comfortable in that environment, then it's like it's more likely that he's gonna like
correct.
be, lean towards that himself as he grows up,
Right.
right? Which hopefully that's the case for all of us, right? It's like,
Hmm.
like we were saying with, our gym is, and I'm not saying this is, super, like I'm sure a lot of gyms have this, but, our gym is very kid friendly in that way, right? Where it's
Hmm.
like we can bring them up, you can kind of set them off on the side. Yes, you do need to keep an eye on them, right? And make sure they're not like
Right.
running out the door, right? I know, my kids can be a flight risk sometimes, but but you keep them in that environment. You keep them seeing people lifting heavy weights all the time. I mean, the amount of times that I've got a 6-year-old daughter that she's like, look how strong I am. I'm like, hell yeah, we're doing it. That's a good sign
Yeah.
of something, right?
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the best
Yeah.
feeling
So,
because then yeah.
hmm
Yeah. And all right, cool. So I got one more question for you before
sure.
I get to that, right? Like, thank you for sharing your because I there's there's a lot to your story. There's a lot that I didn't know. Goodness gracious. But
Yeah.
even just in the last year, holy crap, it feels like,
Yeah.
the last year of your story has been like a whole lifetime.
Well,
uh,
yeah, literally, yeah, that's what we say is like we've done had a lifetime of events in like one little year.
yeah, and
So,
I mean that's coming from me just hearing about it over the last, hour, right? Where
hmm
you freaking lived it one day at a time. So thank you for sharing and opening up about
hmm
all that. And my last question, right? If you think about like a young Katie, right? And you think about all the lessons that you've learned through all the things that you've been through, whether it was the last year or just kind of over the course of like learning through the different preps for bodybuilding shows, or becoming accustomed to like different different approaches to training, different, pieces of equipment, like we were talking about with,
hmm
finding the right hook for like the different style of
hmm
training or anything. If there's a piece of advice that you could give to a younger version of yourself about like how the physical aspect, the physical activity that a young Katie was involved in, to like how that's going to help her through all of these things that you ended up going through that you would have probably never have imagined. Like, what's a piece
hmm
of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Hmm. I think it just like goes back to like my mentality that I have of just like you like put your head down and like get it done and like you'll figure it out and like yeah, you'll struggle at points, but like you can do anything. Like anything is possible. Like you can do it. And like I think that's like just always been my like I've always like I have these goals of like doing these crazy bodybuilding shows, right? And then like I went to Africa and I hiked Kilimanjaro and like like had cancer and I was just like I'm gonna get this surgery done and like as fast as I possibly can just like so I can get back to my life. You know what I mean? And just like I do these things and I think like that is something like I don't think if I was exposed to it, like I would have told myself that like I would have like tried to like, encourage myself to just like put your head down and like, like ignore the noise in the back around you and just like do it. And like you can do it. Like you can do anybody can do set their mind or heart to something and get it done.
Oh yeah. And awesome answer. Also, how do we go through your whole story and now is
I
when you
know,
bring up that
I
you went to
know.
Africa and
I
hiked
didn't even
Kilimanjaro?
think about
Katie,
it, but yeah.
what the hell?
But like that's like part of the thing of just like I do these like I have like I literally will like get fixated on things and like I'm just like
Yeah.
what is my next goal? Like right I did like all these bodybuilding shows and like I needed something to work out towards and so I was like all right I can hike Kilimanjaro, right? Like it won't be that bad and like it wasn't bad. Um I wouldn't do it again just because like I don't like camping and I had to camp for I don't know 4 nights
Long
and
time.
so
Yeah.
yeah, too long for me. One night is too long. But
Oh
I
my
did do it and
goodness.
it was really awesome and it was like a once in a lifetime probably experience and I probably won't ever do it again. But it was cool. And I yeah, I did it. I got it done and people were like,
That is
"You're
cool.
crazy. You're going to Africa all by yourself." I was just like, "Watch me do it."
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Have you met Matt Howell that goes to the gym? He's typically an afternoon guy, like a
I
3:30, 4:30
I
guy.
think so. He's hiked it,
Okay.
right?
He hiked
Did he hike
Everest. He hiked
Everest?
Everest, and I think he's hiked Kilimanjaro too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah.
it's wild.
Because you
Okay, we can
interviewed
talk more
him,
about.
right?
Yeah, I did. I did. I
Yeah, okay, I
interviewed him,
remember.
and
Yeah.
then I interviewed him, and then a friend of his who has also hiked Everest and a
That's
bunch of other those
crazy.
mountains. That guy's actually in the middle of hiking the Pacific Coast Trail, I think.
Okay. That
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
gnarly.
That's a wild one. I'll send you that. I'll send you that
Yeah.
interview. You'd probably appreciate that, having gone through climbing
Oh,
Kilimanjaro yourself. So,
yeah.
no, leaving that part of the story out. Goodness gracious.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. No, Katie, seriously, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your story. I appreciate it. I mean, any other final thoughts, final words for
No,
the
I
people,
really,
anybody
this is
listening?
fun. This is fun, and I really appreciate you having me. And yeah, it
All
was
right,
great.
awesome. Thanks, Katie. Well,
Yeah.
36 down, 10,000 to go, and we will talk to you all next week.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing with a friend. To get notified of future episodes, please follow the show on your favorite podcast app so you can continue to hear these stories. For more behind-the-scenes content of everyday CrossFitters, follow on YouTube and Instagram at Silverback Media. Until next time, this has been the Silverback Media Podcast.